Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast, My Hero Academia edition. Today, we are going to be talking about My Hero Academia season 7, episodes 151 all the way to 154. At the time of our recording, episode 155 Hopes will be coming out September 14th, 2024 in Japan and on Crunchyroll an hour later. We got the My Hero enthusiast with us, Miss Andrea Alanese. How are you doing today, ma'am?
Doing good, doing good. It's allergy season in San Antonio, so that's always fun. So if I randomly go mute, it's because I need to clear out the sinuses. But we are good. We're here to talk to My Hero. I waited a little bit to watch the most recent episode that dropped, 154. And holy shit, I can't wait till we get into that. But let's go.
And this is actually the first time in a long time, especially since the Olympics are over now, that it was actually the four straight episodes. There was no
Mm-hmm.
break, there was no
No
Olympics, there
gap.
was no national disaster, anything like that. So this was the first time in a long, I don't even remember the last time they went four straight without
Probably
any.
July. When wouldn't it have been July?
They went July 20th, 13th, but then they had a then June 29th to 13th. So not even July, because July they went 13th, 20th, the 3rd, and then you didn't get an episode again until the 17th.
Damn.
So I think the last time it's looking like it was June. It went June 8th, 15th, 22nd, 29th. Then there was a break until July 13th, and then the breaks happened. So since June, and we're recording in September.
Damn.
So,
Well, I know it's not more content, but way to stretch it out that I get more of My Hero closer to the end of the year.
and then on the flip side of that, for people not keeping track, the season is actually almost over.
I know. Oh my God. And we're like, I feel like we're getting into the juiciest part of the season. And then that reality smacked me in the face. Like, oh, we're past the halfway point. We're winding down. I'm like, wait, but no, what?
Right.
Huh?
It's flying. Time is flying by in a couple of weeks, 4 weeks straight. From now, we're going to be getting closer to may have to change how we record because we'll be close to the movie debut.
I was about to say, because the movie comes out, is it October 10th?
Hmm.
Yep, yep. And that's in a month,
Yeah,
month from today.
exactly. Yep. So we'll see how we do the recording of that. But Andrea, there's a lot. Where do you want to start?
Oh my God, we got to start from the beginning. All right, we pick up episode 151. We get a little bit of backstory of how the fuck Deku ended up making it just in the goddamn nick of time, of course, as you know, the hero does. We see him flying, he's getting frustrated. The first user pops out being like, hey, I got a weird feeling. Something doesn't feel right. And then all of a sudden we see our star spangled brothers in the sky because they did not follow orders to turn tail back to the US. And so I didn't somebody, I actually just watched the dub and I believe one of the soldiers referred to themselves as the, hey kid, here's the bus or something like that. And it was really cute and really funny. So he was able to basically swing his happy little butt like Spider-Man from between those jets. I don't remember the exact style, but obviously they're going super goddamn fast. So being able to launch himself his own speed, swinging off of their speed onto the next one, so on and so forth. He was able to get there faster than expected, which is thank God, because we all know how close everyone in the coffin in the sky was about to after he got to Bakugo, because he was going to make sure Bakugo was dead, and there was nothing to be done to revive him before Midoriya got there. And Mirio pulls out his ultimate joke card that we've seen a couple different times for his, big moment, arch back and everything.
And it worked.
It did. It was full stop, a whole 2 seconds he needed. And he bought that whole 2 seconds, maybe even a third, because those 2 seconds go by. Shigaraki turns like, huh? And boom, Midoriya kicks him in the face. Both feet. kicks him in the face. Awesome. Midoriya, of course, surveys the scene and is like, is everybody okay? Halfway expecting, most everybody to be okay. Cuts, bruises, probably, yeah. And he, gets to see his lifelong buddy old pal appearing to be deceased in all reality.
Might
And
as well
everybody else
be.
is right. And everybody else, I mean, Mirko has no arms. Nejire is,
And one leg.
oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. And Amajiki isn't moving. Nejire isn't moving. Blue Genist is like his whole front of his, neck denim is covered in blood. Just obviously we knew they weren't looking hot. So for him to see that reality, we just get Deku back into his rage mode, which is exactly what Shigaraki wanted it, how he wanted it. Yeah, just it's how it starts. It's how this little series starts. We get Doria in there and he's about to turn the tables. And without even having to do anything physically, Shigaraki plays the mental game, laid the mental groundwork to potentially flip it back in his favor. Man, 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 man. Thoughts on the first, like, what was that? The first 2 minutes? Not even the first 2 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, it was very early because it came right off of 150 with showing Midoriya's kick when he enters the thing, like you already said it. Him going crazy and Shigaraki, getting in his head, and that was going to lead to a whole bunch of mistakes. And then Lemillion was able to calm him down and get Midoriya back in the things like, hey, we haven't lost yet. No one is dead yet, which true, but I guess from his, well, he's more experienced, but I guess like technically you don't know if any of them are actually alive or not. Like in theory,
Right.
like your girl from your day one of your big three, she like her literally her midsection is all blood. She could have bled out and died there while you're talking. Your
Yep.
best friend is there hunched over. He could have bled out. Miracle
Mm-hmm.
literally could have bled out. She has one leg left. Like both her arms and that other leg could have and I understand like at that point you're like, oh yeah, no one's died yet, but I mean, it's not looking great. And it's one of those things too. It's like the older I mean, if he wasn't there, then I mean, it's one of these things like each episode. Well, this episode and the last episode, you had like people be true MVPs in this sense. If Muriel wasn't there to calm
Um,
Deku down, Deku would have made a
mhm.
mistake and the world would have been over.
Yep.
So he
Yep.
gets that there. And even
Shigaraki also.
Shigaraki got annoyed by him because he's like, this little blonde person just keeps getting in the damn way.
This and it's funny to me again, I just watched the dub that he keeps reiterating the same verbiage that All for One does, in the sense that anybody he doesn't deem the main character is an insect. And it keeps that's a theme that runs throughout these last few
Hmm.
episodes into the first couple of these. Because I believe it's towards the end of this episode, or it's mixed in, where he starts recognizing different quirks that Deku is using from the people he fought in the past. And I know the one, I believe he's the third user, the Fajin. I think he's the
Yeah.
third. So he was like, oh, is that your quirk, dude? Like, bitch, why am I seeing this again? Like, whatever. And then he recognizes the second user's quirk, which this is the episode that we finally get to see the second user's quirk. Holy shit. I did
Gear
not expect
shift.
that. Gear shift. And from when he fought All for One still talking about how, like, it was comical how little of a fight you put up against me. Why am I feeling the way that I do right now? Seeing this quirk, facing this quirk, knowing that it's your bitch ass, your insect ass coming back. Y'all ain't worth it. But obviously, it just goes to show I know it's all condensed in one body, but it's that whole idea mentality of smaller pieces, smaller powers working together makes a stronger power. Power of numbers, power of like a unified desire, which is something we get into a little bit into one of the future episodes that we'll get to here in a second. But oh my God, that he only was able to use gear shift on small objects specifically. Now with the ninth user, he can use gear shifts. Midoriya is able to use gear shift to a molecular level. So he can use it on people, he can use it on himself. The laws of inertia don't fucking apply to him. Mirio's watching the fight like, bro just broke the sound barrier? What the fuck? So this fight, this just hands thrown between Midoriya and Shigaraki, of course, is visually beautiful. And
Music's playing the
yep,
signature Yusei Run music.
yep. And I mean, Shigaraki gets to the point where we, I thought initially, I don't know about you, Martin, but I really thought Midoriya punched a hole through his stomach.
Yeah, I did too. I thought that, I mean, he did a lot of damage, but his body,
But it's the bullshit. It's fine. It's fine.
yeah,
But essentially,
it's the same shit every time. Like,
uh,
if he wasn't in the lab, he would have been dead a long time ago. And then he's still alive. All for One's knowing what's going on.
yep.
He's like, all is not lost. There's still a chance. I mean, he's not phased at all. Because then the
No, he's
episode
not.
ends with a spinner. Like, we're going to go into spinner shit next. But I will say one thing, though, the severity of what the second user said in that episode.
Yep.
He said, if this fight's not over in 5 minutes, the
Five
world is
minutes.
over.
5 minutes. So we've got an anime clock of 5 minutes going, and we are 3 episodes past this point. And I know we're going to have either some type of movie or we're going to have another season. How in the fuck are we fitting season and a half in 5 minutes?
They'll keep panning to other different things. I want to see how they'll do it because the last time I heard something was going to happen in 5 minutes is when Goku fought Frieza on planet Namek, and Frieza said Namek's going to explode in 5 minutes. And I think the actual runtime for their final fight was like 33 episodes, something
Yeah.
crazy. So we'll see how that go. But it just puts the severity of things like, hey, if we don't get this done in 5 minutes, the world's over.
Yeah. And we get a peek into rolling into the next episode why that is. Because working, using that quirk on a molecular level, I believe it, correct me if I'm wrong, the way I understood it is if once it's, powered down, the backlash is that his cells can't absorb oxygen well enough. So then there's a part of this fight where Midoriya is like gasping for breath. He cannot fucking breathe. Luckily, Shigaraki's also down for the count in a sense, but we don't really see that until a couple episodes. So I don't want to get ahead of us in the timeline because when we leave this fight scene in this episode in 151, like you said, Martin, we transition into it flashbacks or a couple minutes ago while it's happening, the fight at Central Hospital or the defending of Central Hospital to make sure Korogiri is not released.
Yeah. This is where these two episodes are very interesting for me because of the people who
Mm-hmm.
the episodes were focused on.
Right.
Um, with Shoji and Koda and Spinner and some others, but especially those two, Shoji and Koda. It's weird for me that it took 152 episodes for us to even have a, unless you just like them just to like them, for us to
Right.
actually like care about Shoji and Koda. Because no
Right.
disrespect to like Shoji, he's all like all those movies. The last vivid memory I have of Shoji of any relevance was in the second movie because he was
Yep.
holding the kids back when
Yep.
Deku and Bakugo were fighting. Like he has
Yep.
no significant moments really at all. Neither does Koda, and and seeing Koda too. Sometimes I think he's underutilized because
Yeah. Bro talks to fucking animals.
mhm.
How cool is
So,
that?
but my thing is that if he's able to talk to animals, I don't know if he should have been at the hospital. I know for their story they have him there, but if you can talk to animals and all that, shouldn't you have been like,
In a forest area where you can talk to larger animals. Because I was also just thinking that
mhm,
he basically has primarily used birds And I wonder if part of that is because a lot of the times they're in the city, so he can't reach very many like larger animals. If he was out in the forest, I would assume he could probably get in contact with like a bear, a cougar, like something that's going to do a little more physical damage
Well,
than
he
pigeons.
also he got an upgrade in this episode, but
Yes,
I
he did.
think that
It's the
it
next
should
one, but
have
yeah.
his upgrade. I mean, the way they've given other people upgrades like Shigaraki, like, oh yeah, he doesn't even have to touch blah blah blah. I mean, Koda's upgrade should
Oh,
have
that's
been like,
also, I'm sorry, a plot hole in 154 when we get there, and I'm going to bring that up. Okay, go ahead.
but Koda's power up should have been that if he's talking to like the birds and one bird goes and touches another animal, Koda like that can be relaying his message. Because I think Koda should have been more of in a messengerial role. Because if you have
Right.
control of all of those birds, let's just say, talking about a couple episodes later, somehow all the power goes out and you're not able to communicate with the other people on the team. Coda with the messenger pigeons or anything like that could
Yep.
have been a big help. But I digress because I was just looking at stuff. I was like, he should have been used in a lot more roles than what he was. But this one cracks me up because obviously we were talking about it beforehand and we joked about well, it wasn't a joke, the advantage of how many villains slash revolutionary warriors versus the heroes at the hospital.
Yep.
Heroes had a solid 200,
Solid 200. And you
solid
think,
200.
ooh, in mass, 200. Let's go. Got 200 either heroes or, officers with their shields and their stun guns.
Hmm.
It's like, cool. All right, 200 for the hospital for Kurogiri. Got it. No big deal. I was so shocked by the number. I did not believe I read it correctly when I texted you, Martin, about it to be like, what the fuck? And you had to tell me, it was like, no, you were right. It was times 10.
Yep.
15, almost, they said, I just rewatched it. It's nearly 15,000 strong.
Hmm.
15,000 people.
Think about it. That's
This
also the
is,
people who weren't. So just think about how many people were actually caught and whatever, whatnot during season six, and they still just
oh,
had a random 15K to go to this spot, not even where the main character is.
right, right. But it's, Kurogiri is such an important fucking ace in the hole that, of course, All for One's orchestrating it. Plus, we do see in episode 153, the flashback, that Shoji and Koda actually became privy to the fact that I guess they tried to send out information saying like, "Hey, Kurogiri's been moved to a different place. Ooh, you know, sleight of hand. Go follow him over there." Nobody fell for it, and Shoji heard through the rumblings through the heteromorph that Midoriya saved and brought into UA, the UA stronghold, that there was a call to action that heteromorphs are being called to gather at Central Hospital. And so Shoji and Koda told essentially Aizawa that's where they want to be. So to your point, it could have been that Koda would have initially been stationed somewhere as a messenger. Shoji could have been stationed among one of the other teams. We don't know because they found out about this and put themselves in a strategic position to help. And I don't think Aizawa actually understood the impact that they would have had.
Well, you just they I mean we'll get to it too. They got lucky because
Mm-hmm.
of Shoji stuff, but
Yeah,
you just said 3 sentences ago that oh boy is a very important piece to the League of Villains. And if
always.
you know he's a very important piece because of his abilities, again, no disrespect to Shogi or Koda, but if you know he's that important, you kind of want to have like some
One of your
heavy hitters
stars. Yep.
there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because when
Yep.
you're
You do.
looking at that fight, I'm looking around, I'm like, are these two in present Mike really the strongest people the heroes have here?
Right. Right. And that's these two episodes. Other than his, masterful quips and announcing skills, fuck you, Present Mike. Fuck
Before
you.
we get to him, what did you think finally seeing in Shoji's backstory?
Finally seeing Shoji's backstory. I had gotten like a mild spoiler in the sense of like that his face was quote unquote ugly.
Hmm.
And then when it was first revealed during the fight that his mask gets ripped,
Hmm.
I was looking, I was like, it's really not that bad. And then they really focus in on the scarring. And so that's when you realize, like, it's not the fact that he's a heteromorph, has a scary face. It's he's covering them up, and he explicitly says it in this next episode, but he explicitly says it. I cover them up. That way there's no confusion that I'm doing what I'm doing, like out of the goodness of my heart versus revenge. I don't want people to see that I'm hurt or I was hurt and assume that I'm doing things out of a place of hurt, anger, and revenge, hatred as well. And I mean, there were definitely choice moments where Shoji was drawn in a capacity that Deku was in kind of overcoming personal struggles to become a hero and delivering big old punches, final blows, and having essentially Shoji talk no jutsus, the mob. Like it's it was really, and it was back and forth. It was really back and forth between him. I, I want to say Spinner, but to me, Spinner's so doped up on those two quirks
Yeah.
that all one for all gave him that he's basically got. I mean, this is probably really fucked up to say, but lizard brain. Like he had very little critical thinking skills and the ability to reflect and think to himself until a little later. It took him a little while to get the sentences going because at certain points, when asked a direct question, all he could say was, "What does it matter? Destroy everything." And the crowd was really looking for justification, reasoning, and I don't remember his name, but essentially some dude in the back was able to cover his ass, being like, "Oh, this is what he means," and blah blah blah,
Hmm.
and swing them the right way. And so, to me, that really illustrates the fact that you can have. I mean, essentially, he's set up like a puppet. Spinner's set up as a puppet, and it's unfortunate. Oh, I don't really have all the words because, like, coming from someone who doesn't necessarily gravitate towards a leadership role themselves, being a support to someone who has a strong message is a great thing. But feeling that you have nothing, like no opinion, you're empty, you mindlessly follow, like it was really kind of disheartening. And I honestly felt a little bad for him once he got up to Korogiri's room, like knock, knock, knock. Look at me. I did what I was supposed to do, Shigaraki. Look at everyone I've got behind me. And there's no one there. Because he thought that was his crowning achievement. That was his moment. And there was no one there. Because why? Because there was nothing deeper for him. There was nothing deeper that he could either convey eloquently enough, or there really isn't something there for him to get people behind him. He needed to be a figurehead and other people pull the strings.
I would say, yeah, because he gets to the room, like all of that in the we get to 153, but still in like 152, because 152, I just want to also talk about too, which showed you like when he was talking, like he was just basically treated like trash when he was a kid because of the way he
Oh, he
looked
was
and
beat.
all.
He was beat. The whole village ganged up on him
Hmm.
to beat his ass as part of a, what did they call it? A bloodletting?
Yeah.
Blood purification. Blood purification. It was, we think you're, what did they say? Impure. You're impure. Sorry, I did just watch the dub. You're impure. So this is how we're gonna try to fix it. And it was the whole village came together. And they really in this episode dig into the fact that they even rattled off different events. I don't remember them all, but in the events that they rattle off, like immediately to me, it calls back like the burning of Black Wall Street in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the bombing of the school in Montgomery, Alabama. Like they had all these incidents spanning, I believe they said 100 years. And they laid out that more recently, society is trying to make it sound like, oh, these problems don't exist anymore because look at all of these heteromorphs in these different positions. And the first one they show is Principal Nezu. And I think the police chief was one of them as well. And they basically lay it out like, yeah, maybe in the city it really is like a more um, progressive melting pot, blah, 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 blah. But that's not the reality for the rest of us on the outside. And there's a lot of us on the outside. And there's a lot of them on the outside too. So,
Yeah.
and of course, that's very evident in the fact that they were able to gather a mob of nearly 15,000 people.
Yeah.
Ordinary people, most of them.
Ordinary people. And then with the continuing with the Soji stuff too, also with the thing, because you hear him talking about his backstory to his fellow classmates, and then his fellow classmates basically sitting there in shock and not knowing what that one, this was a thing and what their
Right.
friend went through in the past. So it's one of those things too when you listen to like whichever group of people that you're friends with talking about discrimination, things of that nature, because you're not experiencing any of it doesn't mean that it's not going on. So like all of his friends like gather around him and all that stuff, and the person's name is Executive. Executive's the one who's
Executive.
undercutting
Yep.
Shoji, and then that's when Koda, who thinks about all the prejudice his parents went through, because
Mm-hmm.
they were more prejudiced back, even though it still exists, that they were more prejudiced back then when his parents were his age than he is now. So then he is the one who starts,
Challenges executive. You're right. Mm-hmm.
but I mean, it gets bad too because at the end of that episode, um, the one officer, I mean, it got to a point he switched. They had to switch from
They did. They
taser
did.
to like real bullets. So then they started
Yep.
having to kill civilians.
Yep.
Well, I guess they weren't civilians technically because now they're fighting against them, but they had to start killing them.
They did. And we didn't see who it was. We didn't hear any outcry. Ironically, the choice to have it insinuated, we technically don't see which officer is the one that fires, but we see the heteromorph detective, I believe is
Hmm.
his. It's either detective or sergeant. That looks like a gorilla is the one that switches up, and then it pans to inside the hospital, so you don't see who it is, but you hear is it two or three shots, and
Yeah.
it's just yeah, yeah.
And then even now going to 153, because even with Shoji's words, I mean, they were still
It
spinning
was
them
back and
all.
forth. It was swinging. It was
Hmm.
swinging because executive was, Shoji putting certain things out there and executive manipulating kind of the narrative. One of the things that stuck with me, I'm not sure about you, Martin, was the whole, you know, this is a child's naivety. Like, we're the ones that know better. We're the hardened adults. And it's like it to be hard is not a bragging point. It's it's to essentially be shoji in the sense that you're beaten down to a point where you could have turned to hatred and anger and rage and become hard, but instead you choose to be understanding and not understanding, choose to still be soft and act with kindness and out of goodness to protect other people, and not place your hurt as the forefront. Um, I just thought that was really really powerful. And I mean, it's very visual in the sense that once, who is it? Is it Rocklock and some of the other heroes are running into the hospital after um, Spinner, and they ask Shoji and Koda to be like, hey, try to hold off the mob as much as you can. And Shoji's the only one standing in front of the doors of the hospital with his arms out and up against a mob of probably at that point, because maybe 50 people went inside, 14,950 people outside.
You know,
So,
the people inside, they didn't stop until they saw the doctors because of the last
uh,
episode where Shoji was like, when you get inside, what are you going to do? Are you
what are
really
you
going
going
to
to
kill
do?
these innocent doctors?
Are these innocent patients?
Hmm.
When the heroes storm the hospital at Gunga Village, That was their first priority, was protecting the people and making sure they were safe. What are y'all doing? What are y'all gonna do?
Yeah. So that's, and then when they see the people, and I forget which one like dropped the stuff. Because then we go back to what you said earlier. Because after they saw the patients, I mean, and the doctors and all that, that's when all of them stopped, and that's when Spinner found himself alone.
Alone.
And then that's when he's just like, dang. I mean, and I don't know, maybe again, it's all part of the plan. If Spinner
Right.
wasn't drugged up, I
Right.
wonder what like normal Spinner, what he would have
Right.
thought during like all of
Shoji's.
this,
Yep.
because obviously it's one of those things too where he is what he is and he's experienced prejudice, which and he
Yep.
can be angry for that, rightfully so. But then
Which is
he
something
also,
Shoji does. Sorry, Shoji does reiterate over and over and over. You have every right to your anger. You have every right to all of this. So there's never an instance where Shoji or Koda are minimizing or deflecting, saying that that rage and anger, hatred is not warranted.
yeah,
It's they're going into specifically the actions being taken are not sending the message you want it to.
yeah. And so then also with his stuff, him liking Stain and following
Mm-hmm.
Stain. And Stain, well, not even saying killing heroes is good. That is not good. And his
Right.
old twisted thing, he was killing selfish heroes, blah, blah, blah. Still not good. But
Nope.
Stain wasn't out there just killing innocent people. Like he
Mm-hmm.
wanted the Hero Society to go back to where people were doing this shit for like community service and not for Instagram followers, pretty much, and clout and fame. So it's weird. I just wonder what normal Spinner would have thought, but even when
Right.
he was, even when he's super drugged up, his loyalty to Shigaraki, I mean, and that whole thing was prevailing. So
Right.
then now it goes to your guy of the hour,
Mike,
Present Mike.
Mike, bro, you see Spinner right at the gate, right at the glass, and you're just jogging it up there. Okay, cool. I know super speed ain't your thing. Got it. Give out one big old yell, and it's effective. I'll give you that, because this is why I'm so pissed, is because I thought that shit worked. This is why my hero makes me so mad, is because every time I think, all right, we're good, it's done, boom, LOL JK. Ooh, because, yeah, he lets out that scream, calls out Shirakumo's name. To me, I'm thinking, okay, Spinners. Well, his scream had already busted Spinners like blades on blades on blades. Now his scream broke apart his what was it called? Scale mail, was it called? Um, so it got rid of his protective armor coating. So it's he went down and seemed disoriented. So to me, probably his eardrums might be busted, or at least severely knocked off balance, his equilibrium. Um, and he's laying there. And so I'm thinking, okay, we're good. The device that had the recording of All for One and Shigaraki, the device is doing the whole buzzy thing. You see the electricity coming out of it, meaning it's busted. Okay, it's done. Kurogiri needs to hear one of their voices. Cool. I was hoping for the happy ending because I'm fucking naive in the sense that Mike says Shirakumo, and Shirakumo is going to wake up and he was going to help us. What happened? President Mike sauntering up, taking his sweet ass motherfucking time. And Spinner's having his, existential crisis of this was my job. I was going to be the Shigaraki's hero. This was on me. The device is busted. What do I do? What do I do? How do I get Kurogiri to wake up? And I'm thinking, it's all in vain, bro. You can't do shit. It's done. It's over. You're cooked. No. He jolts up, has a hand from Shigaraki from when he was, rocking all his family's hands, quote unquote, puts it towards Kurogiri and is like, go protect Tomura and everyone. And President Mike was inhaling for a big old whatever just before this happened. And he missed it. He missed the opportunity. He hesitated because he was thinking If you're Kurogiri, all right, you're done. No more pain. Leave us with the fond memories. Leave Aizawa with the fond memories. And he hesitated because he was like, well, but what if you are Shirakumo? Hesitated. This happens. Spinner gets up in his face with the hand, and we find out in the next episode there was a uh nano transmitter in the goddamn fucking hand. Because all for one always, always has a plan double Z. The Korrigear woke up, and that's how we ended 153,
No,
or was that
that's how
152?
you start 153.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
how we
that's how
start.
you start 153, that he wakes up. Well,
Oh,
yeah, no, you're right. It's at the end. It's near the end where he wakes up. No, middle, because middle end. He wakes
mm-hmm.
up because All for One always has a plan. And then that's when he's going and he's getting everyone. And I would be remiss to say, before the warping and all of that, there was something else that happened in this
Yep,
episode.
yep,
Um, Obviously, because United States with Stars and Stripes, rest in peace. I mean, this episode was already trending because of the weather lady of the
yes.
United States of America for two reasons. One, for her looks, and two, for her message.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is probably the only time we see this, maybe until the end. I don't know. The end's already here, but whereas and it seems like, because it looks like she was doing it in DC, I'm assuming. So she's
Mm-hmm.
probably the top weather lady in DC, maybe in the country. And she's
Yeah.
giving this like stuff talking about what's going on in Japan, talking about the episode's called The Butterfly Effect. It's like, all
Mm-hmm.
right, get one butterfly. If it flies here, popular, blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows the butterfly effect. And
Yep.
then she just, after she gave her soliloquy, and then she was just like, pulled a thing from, I don't even remember where she pulled it from, because she had like the white one piece like
Dress.
outfit and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, dress. Pulls a little paper, has an all for one sliced in the middle, like, I am opposed to our
I am
government
opposed
cowering to
to
all
all
for
for
one and
one.
all that. And then the people are like, what are you doing? Your career's over. Cut it on, blah,
Like,
blah, blah.
cut it off, go to commercial. No,
She
we
did say
can't air
one
this.
person can make a difference, then did that. And they're like, oh, we're all ruined. And it is so funny because that lady, Meryl, will probably not have any significance in the story ever again since it's near the end. But just
Right.
because of her message and her looks, she was already trending for, like, she's been like the main focus of so many people in
Mhm.
my hair. Just like, wow. Especially since she's not white. And
No,
that's the other
no.
thing
But
too.
she did
So
get blue eyes. Honestly,
she
that's a
did
slight
get,
personal. Like, I
yep,
wish they would have. I don't know if her original design, I have no idea. I don't know if in the manga she was supposed to have light eyes, but I do wish it would have been a choice, a conscious choice to have her have dark eyes as well.
yeah.
I
So
wish.
so that was the thing. So then once we get out of the new MHA conscious, because she was very socially
Hmm.
conscious new waifu alert. Then, because that basically what was on social.
That's what it was. It's just true. The same thing happened when Lady Nagant was fucking hunting Midoriya, but it was holy shit, she's hot. So
No,
this lady is doing something noble and great and standing up in a way that even the president of the United goddamn fucking states won't and isn't. So
and I joked, since All for One has a plan for everything. He probably planned for the top weather person. I'm saying she's a top weather person. We don't even know anyone else in that top
yeah,
weather person in the United States to say that. Because then when she drives back to her apartment in DC, it's probably already blown up. So I'll teach
right,
anyone else, if you want to say some shit about me, that's what's going to happen to you. Because I, knowing All
right.
for One, if he would have that already, he's like, oh,
Yeah,
I
but
know this person will say
oh hey,
something.
I heard where are my sleeper agents in the US? Hey, by the way, you saw that bitch? I don't think I even got to
Yep.
tell you. Just go do it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Knowing him, he would do that. So then this is when, after her thing, we're like, all right, someone's sticking up. Then all hope is lost because all the warp gates start opening. Reverse of
Yep,
Avengers Endgame. Avengers Endgame was for the heroes. This is
yep,
for the villains.
yep.
All the gates start opening. He
All of
comes,
them.
swoops up Dobby. swoops
Speaking
up.
of Dobby, we actually forgot to mention, I think it's 152 we briefly see him, or is it 151 where we see him just low key, hey buddy, by the way, cool, ultimate move. I wanted to feel it for a hot second and then I, tried to copy it and turn it on right before you froze me. So it worked, by the way. I can do it now too.
Yeah. And
So
Shoto was mad that he's like, why can't I move? Why am I at my limit? And he's still going. Everyone there was at their limit. People have died over there too.
people have
And
died. One of the sidekicks for Endeavor is definitely burnt to a crisp.
you know,
Vernon is telling Shoto to run away, which he has been, but still it's to the point where everybody's getting burned. Our aerial shot of that fight is basically a blue flame dome. It's getting so goddamn hot in there. Just like, yeah,
he goes he goes everywhere because Dobby was actually about to fly to Endeavor, and then that's
yep,
when the warp gate came. So he
yep.
goes there. Then he goes to the UA coffin where Isaiah Monoma using a racer on Shigaraki. Corgi and Mike, they warp behind them. And then the other one is where Toga is. And then
I feel
Toga,
I can't decide which one is the worst one. Because adding Dobby to All for One, Hawks, Endeavor's fight is like, damn it. But at least, okay, we have Endeavor, we have Dobby, okay, cool beans, whatever. But making sure to prioritize warping Toga also to that scene
well, he got
and
everyone.
also to the coffin in the sky because, of course, groundwork, legwork,
I
plans
mean,
on plans on plans.
yeah, he got the whole band. The goal was to get the band back together, which he
Yep,
did get the band back together all simultaneously. And when he
yep.
got to Toga, she because he asked, he's like, where do you want to go? Because in
Mm-hmm.
that sense, does she want to you have to put the suspense of does she want to go see Midoriya again?
Mm-hmm.
Or but then she's like, no, I want to go where Hawks is at because I want to kill him for what he did to
Yep,
Twice. So then
yep,
that's when she transforms into Twice, which I
yep,
think I don't Toga, to her credit, she said because she said to
yep,
Froppy, you're a very logical person. I know you're logical. So I knew from a logical, I know that I knew that you would do this because you're logical. Hence why that bottle you broke was a fake because I knew you would
yep,
do that because you're logical. That's what a logical person would do. And you're just
yep.
sitting there like, you've
She's
got
leveled
to
up.
be kidding me.
Like, here we go. Toga's actually leveled up, bossed up. Yeah, she can use people's quirks when she you know, becomes them, but now she's actually thinking like a tactician.
So
Fuck.
she does that. And she turns into Twice, literally Twice sad man's
Man's
parade.
parade.
Infinite Twices, pulling up to where Endeavor and Hawks is. So now you have all the villains there besides Shigaraki because he's fighting the main character.
Yep,
You have Dobby's Blue Flame Hellfire surrounding the circle. So you can't
yep.
even leave that circle, you'll get burned. So it's your choice. Honestly, it's your choice of death. Do you want to get burned to death or do you want to get trampled to death? I don't know which
Right.
one you pick from a
Yep.
personal perspective, but that's just the situation. And that's really how it ends with 153.
Well, no,
And
because that's the other part of it. Actually, the very last moment of 153 is Korogiri also warping the other part of Toga's twice duplicates onto and into, well, not physically into, but onto the Coffin in the Sky site.
yeah, yeah,
Because we start seeing them coming out of Korogiri's warp gate and coming directly for Eraser, Monoma, and Manual.
yeah, that was true. Um, so is Rocker gonna be able to kill her? Because this
No,
romance shit's gonna need to stop. Because the only way these
yeah, no,
things die is if she dies.
no, yeah, no, absolutely. My, I do have a personal question of the sense of, remember, after a certain amount of time, she can't keep being somebody. And I know I'm sure she's had the level up so she can be it for longer. And technically, we're only running on a timer of 5 minutes. So, like, is her time limit really less than five? Probably not. I would kind of hope so. But yeah, no, her reiterating the question over, I think it's supposed to be essentially like she said it once, but they play it twice in two different episodes where she's like, wait, Toga, I still need to talk to you. We still never talked about, romance. And it's like, I feel Toga, and Toga's like, bitch, I ain't got time for that right now. I don't give a fuck. She was like, I know technically this is a switch up faster than I don't even know what at this point. But she went from like, ooh, Midoriya, I want to confess my feelings. Let's be boyfriend, girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. And here we are, probably within 10 minutes, not even. She's on the no fuck romance. Do you see a love struck maiden here? I don't think so. And it's like, ooh,
Well, different mission. I mean, now she's in the presence of the person who killed her best friend. I mean,
true.
would I guess for anyone else's sense, how would you feel if you were the presence of the person who killed your best friend? So it's just like, I, and honestly, respectfully too, because obviously with Toga coming to this scene, they had to drag Uraraka and Froppy over here
Yep,
because these ladies are connected, especially Uraraka and
Toga.
Toga. And they see Tokoyami and Jiro, and then like Froppy, if you watch it, Froppy is down because she's like her facial expression is like, damn, I really am the one who fucked this up. Because
Yep,
if I would have hit the right blood, none of this happened. And then she
yep,
also saw how fucked up Jiro was, and
yep.
then she was just like, damn. But then Jiro, to her
Jiro
credit,
had
because
the
when
best
we
attitude about it, for
Oh
real.
yeah. Well, we
For
talked
real.
about it the one time when we previewed before. We were like, "Oh shit, she is dead," because she got her shit blasted. She's like,
Blasted.
"Well, if I only lose an ear in this, and I can't hear from that side and fighting the demon lord, I'll be okay. I'll be
You know
okay."
what?
And
Like that's all right by me. It's like, you know what? That is the right attitude to have because, ma'am, you were, an ear's width away from death. That's basically what you can take away from that.
so I already painted the picture of what's going on in this main battlefield. Like you're either dying by trampling or the flames. So they have to deal
Yep.
with that. I want to then we'll shift to the school because you're like, all right, Midori's, everything's there. But like you said, you got all the doubles there. Ozawa and Monoma, I don't know what's gonna happen to them because they're not like physically
Imposing. They're not.
strong to like
Nope.
bust out of. They were getting trampled up, and not just that. This clown, who I don't understand, he was not caught all this time. Little tech boy.
Little fuck, what do I want to call him? Like the hacker. I see his hair and it gives me like it recalls something to my memory and I can't remember what the hell it is. But yeah, bro who's like he gives me incel vibes. Actually, that's what it is. That he's just,
Skeptic is his name.
skeptic. Skeptic is his name. And he's just there in his lair with his fingers typing away at all this shit. Redestro, his
So it,
liberation.
it's bad because obviously Monoma is hour down, which means Eraser's off. So Shigaraki's body's starting to act weird because again his quirk's back. So you're like, okay, well, this isn't great. And then you have Skeptic hacking into the system. So then
Yep.
you're just like, Eraser's off. The
The
systems are
sky
getting
is
hacked.
falling. Literally, the sky is
The
falling.
twices of them are all attacking the thing and they're just fucking it all up. So you're really just sitting there like, and this is
What's gonna happen?
crashing. And
Yep.
they and I for and it's the main officer who's been here since season. When that thing falls, the world is over. So and
Yeah.
this thing is literally falling. Midoriya's like, what do I do? Do I keep
Can't
fighting
breathe.
Shigaraki, or do
Yeah.
I go try and save the damn little floating continent? But now I can't do both because I can't breathe because it's like seasons. It's like can't breathe because of Hinokami Kagura because
Right.
he used it too
Yep.
fucking much. So now
Yep.
he can't breathe because I'm like, and that's another thing too. I understand saving Gear Shift
Yeah.
for the final season for suspense.
Yeah.
It's not really the best place to be using a quirk for the first time.
Yeah. No.
They probably should have let him train with it because this is the absolute worst time for any of this
Yep.
to happen. So then,
Well, it's
go
it's
ahead.
just the plot armor of the fact that they've waited so long for this that the guy is basically telling him in concept how to be able to use it. So
Hmm.
the idea is that he trained with all these other quirks, so he's just gonna, use this one naturally, quote unquote, which again is a very thin and a fragile argument, but whatever, we technically have seen All for One and Shigaraki just get quirks and fucking use them perfectly the first time too. So like annoying, but whatever.
I know
Um,
it got obviously it's for the plot, but just from a thing, it's just like
yeah.
really the last thing, and then of course he can't breathe. Shigaraki can't move either.
Mm-hmm.
The second coming out, I was like, oh, he can't move either. And it's basically whoever can move first is going to
Is gonna
decide the
win.
future of the planet. And
Mm-hmm.
everything is just going so damn bad. And like again,
Yep.
that main officer who's been with us since season one, I use him for a barometer of how long this shit's been going. Because if
Right.
you see his picture from like the beginning to what he looked like
It's
this
like
past
now.
episode, like super omega, like he's fought in like six world
Yep.
wars, Grizzle, like he's been on this shit since trying to find out who the trait, like all of this shit. And like you just see how older he looks
Mm-hmm.
from the first thing, and
How ragged, how tired. Yeah.
it's
To
just
me,
like damn, it's crazy. He's my barometer of age and how
mhm.
long this shit's been going. So you're like, wow.
Well, and that's the crazy part. Technically, timeline wise, this has all been happening within what, a year and a half? So, bro has aged three lifetimes in a year. To me, it
Mm-hmm.
reminds me of, again, there's probably similar pictures of other former presidents, but the one that comes to my mind that sticks with me is seeing President Barack Obama when he first went into office, and then how gray and kind of haggard and tired he looked at the end of his 8 years. And again, 8 years is a much longer span of time than a year and a
Mm-hmm.
half. But you could tell the level of stress he had and the effect it had on his body. And that's the mental image that comes to me when I see Takeuchi on the screen as well.
Yeah, I mean, all the work that he's had to do, like, all right,
Secrets
need
he's
to
had
find,
to keep.
yep, secrets he's had to keep. I need to find the League of Villains. I need to ship. I need to. Is All for One still
Stop the shit,
alive?
Hisaikai. Let me figure out who the mole is.
You
Let
know,
me
even at the beginning, I'm one of the few handful of people who know All Might's actual secret and like
right.
all that stuff. So it is just a lot of stuff like seeing him, but then you truly really do think you're like, God, this is ass. Like Midoriya's not gonna be able to do this. Like you're like wondering like
I thought
who
it
is
was the end.
oh
Like
yeah.
cognizant, like it's not because you have more episodes. But 153 really puts you in a place where you're like, for me,
It's still a
how
bad
the
they're
fuck
still
do
in a
they come
bad
back? How do they
place.
come back from this? How do they come back from this? Who do we still have? Who is there? Because I
Oh, I
was sitting
mean,
there,
mhm.
there is no one left.
No, there's still truly not. I mean, we're gonna talk about three people, but there's truly still not no one left. It's just the damage has been lightened. So just when you think it's all hope was lost, you see this young woman
Pop up on the screen on
pop
Skeptic
up on the
screen being like,
screen
ah,
talking that shit, and then he's just like,
bits.
huh? And then of course you want to give him backstories, like basically like, yeah, I remember hacking you in like middle school. Like your
Yeah.
programs are pretty much still the same. And then you see the cat
The
dancing, and you're
goddamn
just
cat meme, the dancing cat, and he's having a full blown like PTSD panic attack. Like,
yep,
oh
skeptic.
my god, like no, it can't be you.
And
And
for
then
people who don't know, it is La Brava.
Brava
She comes and saves the day from that thing, from her part.
from her the technological part, and then she saves the day in a duplicated supportive role on the second. Because when I first saw La Brava, I was like, holy! Again, I none of these three characters that we're about to count. La Brava's the first one had no concept that they would be involved at all. And it just, the level of despair I felt in 153 was probably matched, if not magnified, in the like sheer excitement of who saved the day and how saved the moment. I shouldn't save the day,
Yeah.
save the moment in 154. Because
Yeah,
we have
so
La
she
Brava pulling her shit on the technology side. And then who do we see next, Martin?
well, you see Mr. Before you actually see him, you see you assume it's a guy jumping on a like
Something.
a yeah, he's jumping on a thing. And
Uh huh.
then you before you even you start hearing the legendary Might You song. So you're like, oh, this is like it. Someone's either gonna die or someone's either because they don't just play Might You every. They save that for movies for big. I
Big
think the last
moment.
time Might You was played in the show was season 4 when Midoriya put Aaron Lemillion's cape on Eri because I remember it
Mm,
played Might You during that, and then
yeah,
obviously Might You was played when the double Detroit smash with Midoriya and Bakugo and
Bakugo
in
in
the
the second
movie.
movie.
They do not play that song lightly. Like when they play and when they give that song to you, it is an mega big deal. And like you see the monologue with the captain talking about like, hey, like because they're like, oh, his other little subordinates like, man, can we trust them? They were villains, blah blah. And he's just
They
sitting
were
there like,
villains, blah blah blah. And he's
see,
like,
yeah, villains are people too. Like we gotta hit that people side. That's how I'm telling you, man. He's aged so much. Like he's really gone through it. He's just like, bro, we need to win. Like we need
we
to win.
we need to win. We need to tap into the human element of villains. Although the first thing he says is, what is he? Is it the past is the past cannot be changed. Like the past is the past. The past cannot be
Which
changed
is
or
true.
erased,
Hmm.
which is true across the board. Which to me also harkens to Dobby talking about the past never dies.
Yep.
It's true. It's true, but the context of them are very different because, again, like you said, Takaichi goes into. He said a crime is a crime. Crime
Yep.
is a crime, and the past doesn't disappear. Whatever the exact verbiage was, but he says on the advice of or what a knowledgeable friend says, and we actually pan over to All Might walking out the door
Hmm.
that there is, a human side to villains. And that's what that society essentially, and I think this is foreshadowing, the continued conversation between Midoriya and Shigaraki. As much as Shigaraki likes to say that, Midoriya, you can't talk to me, I can't be swayed, blah, blah, blah. That's what they need to tap into and recognize and understand. Um, and yeah, you're right. Seeing that bounce, I knew as soon as I saw
Oh,
the bouncing, like I knew it. I knew it,
oh,
and I
this
just
it was
got
great.
so
It was great. Him
over the
pump
top excited.
like the pump up,
Yes.
and like him getting ready to
Yep.
do it. And it's interesting too because now with Gentle, I'm not gonna call him Gentle Criminal anymore because Gentle, it's now like this man who people basically read off like it doesn't matter. He was in like a 2, 3 part little mini
Yeah.
thing before the thing. You never would have known that him and LeBravo were gonna have this big a thing.
Right.
Now he's pumping it like building his boundless energy, yada yada yada. And it's his if he doesn't catch the floating fortress, the world is over.
The
Literally,
world
the
is
world
over.
is over. So the fate of the entire planet at that point in time
Time.
was literally on Gentle. Like
Gentle
it is
criminal.
all on him.
Mhm.
If he falters for a split second, the world's
Or
over.
if he didn't have LaBrava's quirk to boost
Hmm.
him because of the love and adoration that she has for him.
Yeah, the world's over.
Mm,
So
oh
I
man.
already, and so a lot of people, I think it's actually kind of interesting too because I think almost every fourth episode, social media, like the My Hero verse on social medias, obviously they crown an episode like because this one was getting massive
Right.
praise and all of that because people like the W. If you're just an anime only person, like the WTF of the three, and we'll get to the third
Uh-huh.
one here shortly. But it's the fact that he's catching it, and then all the other people are like, "What the hell is going on?" Even forgot Denki, his poor soul, was powering up the damn thing. So then,
Yep.
like, we have to come up here and fight. And then when Denki is like, "Oh, Monoma Sensei," I'm like, "Oh my God, Denki's about to see another teacher die. Like,
Die.
this is bad."
Yep.
And then they're like, "Wait, we're being saved." And then he was like, and then Midoriya's looking around. He's like, "Oh, gentle."
Like, is that you? Like, oh my God, bro, thank you. Like, and Gentle Criminal having a little bit more of his flashback to when he was having the conversation, ironically, with the detective or sergeant
He
that
was
we
the
see
main
switch up
dude.
the gun.
Hmm.
Yeah, switch up his gun from stun to potentially, pew pew. Um, that he's like, people that say there are no second chances don't want them, aren't willing to put in the work and wait for them. And I don't remember what the third option was, but that's what he left Gentle with. And then we pan to the jailbreaks, Muscular breaking out, I guess, whatever jail
Man,
he
weren't
was
those some good times at the end of season 5? Like that
in.
was so long ago.
Oh man, I know. So the jailbreak happens and Gentle's there. All these other villains are busting out. Some of them are saying like, "Yeah, I didn't get to kill somebody that I had meant to," and somebody else said, "I don't exactly remember," but then
He was
somebody
gonna
in the
go
back
rape.
was
He
like,
was gonna go rape a
"Yeah,
girl.
there's." Well, he was calling like girls,
Yeah,
girls.
he
So
was gonna.
yeah, yeah, we know that's what was happening, what was planned,
Mhm.
and he blocks the entrance. Like, is this really what you want to do? Like, this is really how you want to play this situation? Like, this is what? And they're all just like, "Yeah, bro, get the fuck out the way." And he, has that flashback. And the next thing we know is we see that same sergeant, detective, whatever it is, walk up with one other officer onto the side of the jailbreak. And they're like, there were 7 prisons broken into. This is, or six or seven.
There
And
was 7, and this is the only one.
this is the only one that did not have a single jailbreaker.
So stop you right there, because obviously this goes back way before season 6. Because we saw Tartarus, and that's where
Yeah.
we were just like, oh, this is bad. And we saw them breaking
Mm-hmm.
into everywhere, and like obviously
Yep.
then because they kept it for suspense. Then
Right.
they showed everything getting broken into. Now I'm almost like when you hear like things could have been so much worse if it wasn't for Gentle, who, when you think about it too, prison's a big place.
Yes.
It's a big place.
Yep.
Gentle was able to beat an entire prison by
By
himself.
himself. He was bloody. It was a battle, but he was there sitting down waiting
And it looked
to
like he
be.
didn't kill any of them either because they all looked like
No,
they
they were
were.
all restrained. They were
Mm-hmm.
all restrained or knocked out.
So my thing with that is like, now it's hindsight. Hindsight. So I'm like, so bro, you were able to beat a whole prison of rapists and murderers and all that, and whoever the fuck made our plan didn't have you come fight in season 6?
Well, remember the jailbreaking happened after the war was lost.
No.
Yeah, because that was after Shigaraki came back and after All for One was broken out. Because it wasn't until Shigaraki was released and revived that the jailbreaking happened.
So the jailbreak happened. We are on episode 154. The jailbreak on Tartarus was 128. That is so long ago.
It feels like it for sure.
That's crazy. That is one episode. Yeah, 15th episode of the 6th season. That's still 128 to 150. We've had almost 30 plus episodes. You want to know the date this came out in Japan?
Sure.
January 14th, 2023.
Yikes. That's a year and a half ago. More than a
Mm-hmm.
year and a half ago. Holy shit.
But it's just, I don't like, okay, well, then even like that, then obviously you saved him for this moment. Cool, whatever. I mean, obviously it worked. I don't think you foresaw that your shit was going to get hacked in the world. But
Right.
now I'm just like, okay, maybe just 2 episodes ago, maybe if you sent him to the hospital, we don't even get to this point.
Right. Because bro can just make trampoline barrier thing, whatever, out of thin air. Why would you not cover the goddamn hospital? Almost nobody can break through. Midoriya had to go like full on. What percent was he at that time?
Yeah,
Like
he had
30,
to fight really.
27?
That's a very underrated like
It
fight of
is.
philosophies and all that.
Yeah, it was more so a fight of philosophies versus power because Gentle Criminal physically is not strong enough to fight Midoriya on his own, but LaBrava's quirk being an
Mm-hmm.
ace in the hole for him helps to boost him. And so that's
Yeah,
also part of this explanation as well.
I'm just wild because it's weird with My Hero because anytime like and it's an epic moment, but every time the heroes have an epic moment, you just sit there once you have the hype out of you and you start thinking logically, you're like, so why weren't you at the hospital? If you're at the hospital, none of this happens. The world isn't about to end. Or why aren't you at the damn place where All for One's at? Or why weren't you like tag teaming with Mirio up there, like being the Met? You just think about it, it's just like if you had this much power, or okay, La Brava. Now I gotta I gotta reevaluate who I think the smartest person in the verse is. But if you can hack into skeptic shit, I mean, couldn't we have used you earlier to hack into some other shit? Like when All for One was running loop de loops around us, like
Right?
we just wanted to save you for oh, if the literally the city is falling, that's when we'll call you.
Yep.
Okay, that's just
We're
again,
gonna
it's
have
a
you as tech
fantastic
support.
moment.
You're
I'm
gonna
not.
be our IT, help log call
Oh
line.
yeah,
Like, hey, by the way, could
yeah.
you
By
like,
the way, if this city falls, the world's over. Can you please help us? And again, it's a fantastic moment. It's just like if you would have used them earlier, this shit could have been avoided. But
well,
no,
honestly, in her hacking abilities, I don't know how she wouldn't have been able to find Skeptic before all of this shit. So before he could even hack into, again, we get into it. It's part of the story. Like things are planned out that way for a reason. But like,
yeah, but still, and then when you get past and you actually start doing real like thinking about it, you're just like, what the hell? I
yeah,
mean, and then obviously Skeptic's little punk ass, he's starting to leave. And then you
yeah,
know
he's
what?
like,
We
you
see
can't touch
Smiley.
me.
Haven't
Yeah,
seen her for what, 4 years?
Miss Joke.
Miss Joke, I'm sorry, yeah. Yeah, we haven't
Yeah,
seen her in years.
and then we saw Mr. Vibrate from Shiketsu and Mad Dog. Was Mad Dog his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. And ironically, Mad Dog is the one that apprehended Gentle Criminal and La Brava when
Mm-hmm.
they were trying to quote unquote, infiltrate the school. And it was the whole thing about like, oh, you didn't fight anybody, you didn't run into anybody. And, they were covering for Midoriya and Midoriya was covering for them. So
So in typical
him
My
talking
Hero,
about like, I can't believe it rests, on them.
yeah,
And
and it did. If you didn't have these,
did.
if Midoriya didn't spare these people, the world is over. So
Hadn't converted them even.
going
Hadn't
back to
if he hadn't
Meryl's thing,
converted Gentle Criminal, if he
yeah.
hadn't reached him.
Oh, the world's over because the
Mhm.
same situation plays out and he's locked up somewhere. The world's over. Going back to Meryl's thing, one person can make a difference because
Yep,
Midoriya's all that
that's what I
stuff.
was just thinking too. Yep.
So, in typical My Hero fashion, you're like, great. This is fantastic. We are saved. No, Shigaraki moves before Midoriya can. So then you're sitting here like, hmm,
Fuck, and we're all talking about like his hand touches the ground.
we're all
Everyone's
dead.
lost. Everybody's dead. And here's what I talked about earlier when I say plot armor bullshit. Because as the war quote unquote was going on, Shigaraki was like, "Bitch, I don't gotta touch shit anymore with my hands. I can just make things disappear." So this whole, I'm sorry, but that's all I could think during the whole slow motion suspense of his hand going and trying to reach the ground. Because I'm like, when did when did that get nerfed? You were supposed to already be able to just disintegrate the ground just whenever you want to. You don't have to touch it with your hands anymore. You don't have to.
Someone can make the argument that off screen that part of his power was taken away by New Order.
That is a good point. I
Someone
kind of
can
forgot
make that
about that. You're
argument.
right. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're fair. It's also thin for me. Sorry, just like the fact that, New Order didn't work on Shigaraki because he was having a goddamn identity crisis, but
Yep.
neither here nor there. Okay.
So to
Okay,
reel
fair
it,
enough.
yep.
Fair
So to
enough.
wheel it back, he's about to touch the ground. Midoriya can't move. So you're just sitting there like, we truly, 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 truly
I have no
cannot
answer
catch
for
a
this.
break. We
There
can't
is
catch a
nothing
break.
left. What are we gonna do? Midoriya can't move, can't breathe. Gentle just saved the building, the honestly the castle in the sky, the fortress in the sky from plummeting into the ocean and killing most everyone by drowning or impact. That's below the, I want to say hull, but I know that's the ship term. But yeah, so okay, cool. One crisis averted. Now we got another one. How what Midoriya, somebody I honestly thought this was where Bakugo was gonna shoot the fuck over and just like blast him in the face again or something. Like
Yeah.
that that's what I thought was about to happen. But no. No. What do we hear? What do we see?
See a
We hear a
bullet.
beautiful shot and a purple ass bullet.
Yeah. from Lady Nugget in hospital robes and all from wherever the hell that hospital is, fully
Yep,
bandaged, probably not at full strength. She takes that shot and shoots his hand off, and that is honestly how that episode ends. But my question is, doesn't he just regenerate?
he does. But the key here again is buying Midoriya time. And since she's so far away, unless again Shigaraki has full access to all his quirks at this point, so he might have actually if he still has the quirk where if he meets somebody, he sees somebody, he can locate them with the quirk that he stole from one of the pussycats. I don't remember which one. I think it was Ragdoll.
Oh, the cert that which is a very Omega level powered. Like it's a not a super strong quirk, but it's a very strong quirk if you're trying to find people with quirks.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So if
that's in
he
the
has that
episode.
one still, then he would be able to locate her no problem. I'm hoping, since you brought up the whole New Order destroying quirks, I'm hoping he doesn't still have that one.
Yes.
Because that would be my worry that he's able to pinpoint her right away and have, whatever other fucking quirk that he has, because that's something that he talked about. And I found it so goddamn ironic that Shigaraki's on his high horse of like, ha, you guys suck. I'm like prime all might, blah, blah, blah. You can't stop me. Suck it. And then all of a sudden the tables flip real quick for not even a full ass minute. And he's like, damn Eraser and your quirk and these guys with their stupid tricks and their underhanded meh, meh, meh. The whining immediately was like, okay, so you're the only one that can have plans and tricks up your sleeve, but when other people have it, it's a problem. Okay, okay, nice,
So
nice.
I think yeah, so that's really how it ended. It's the fact too that how it ends like La Brava, Gentle Criminal, Lady Nugget all coming in clutch. But it's one of those things now that's like because they're gonna pan out. Isaiah,
Yep,
all this is going on. Isaiah might be dead.
he
Monoma
might
might be
be.
dead. Like
Yep,
we truly don't know how they're getting out of that stuff. So it's just like now we don't. He has all his powers and whatever the ticking time, and Shigaraki has whatever powers he has left in his body.
yep.
So it's just like
And we still have the complete description of the fact that you know the body's not synergized. There's
yeah.
something going on.
Hmm.
All for One acknowledges it when Hawks confronts him because essentially when Dobby showed up, All for One was like, "All right, time to go to Shigaraki." Hawks cut
Hmm.
him off, and he's like, "Oh, you're a perceptive one." He's like, "Yeah, because obviously, if everything was all Gucci with Shigaraki, you wouldn't be trying to rush over there." So All for One knows there's a there's a hiccup in there that maybe could be exploited, but Hawks is trying to hold him there, and he tasked Endeavor with taking on Dobby. And Endeavor says, I will watch this time. And to me, that calls back to the whole Dobby's request to, dance with him in hell. And so now he's going to watch and take part in what Dobby's laying out for him.
Yeah. And those are the episodes. We have, I don't know why the hell this episode's titled Hope for this Saturday coming up, but hopes.
Honestly, I feel a little hopeful after this episode. I
Oh,
really did
hell
not think I
no.
would. Oh man, but Martin, we were so close. Like crisis averted on three different levels. Like holy shit.
It doesn't, even if they stop, I mean, they're outnumbered at the real main battle site with All for One and all of them. I
Yes.
mean, what do you I mean? And then they're outnumbered here. Even if he gentle stopped that, I mean, there's still twice as people are still there. They're gonna have to fight them, and there's really no fighters besides the cat lady. Um,
But she's
well,
not really a physical fighter
he's
either
not a
because her quirk
physical
is,
fight.
is
Yeah,
the telepathy, if I believe.
so
Like
Gentle can't. Gentle's probably gonna be the one holding up the damn fortress, so he can't go fight. But
right.
Million's probably the only fighter in Blue
I'm
Genius, or
sorry. Okay, but here's the thing. So Dylan has been on a little bit of a kick of skipping the intros. I specifically asked that we watch it this time, and I did, and I'm glad I did because we see a glint of somebody's sword, and I want to know where he's going to pop up because
you
those are
mean
the two
Stain?
people. Yes. So where is Stain going to come? and make a difference because we know he will. And then All Might walked out Central Command. So where is he going and what is he going to do?
Well, it's more. I really don't know where Stain's gonna go. There's only one place All Might's going, so
Right.
I just don't know where Stain's gonna when he shows up. Unless they finally we have a little All Might Stain tag team, which would kind of be kind of dope. But
Right.
I mean, it's still dire. I mean, if
It is, no, it's definitely dire. It's
Toga
not
doesn't die, it's over. Because for all we know, we're gonna be something you said earlier. Yeah, maybe this is Toga's limit. And all of a sudden, random flashback of All for One telling Toga that he altered twice his blood so that there is no time limit unless you want to stop it. Because that's what happens. You even saw in
yeah,
154 where anytime All for One's talking and it shows like the lines connecting, it's like, oh, there's everything all part of the plan.
right. Fucking right.
My biggest thing, because I don't, Lady Nack, she was not planned. Because if she
No.
was planned,
She would have been in
why?
normal clothes. Yeah.
No, but why? If this was, then we're gonna maybe make some bullshit up. We'll see what they do next episode. If they're like, oh yeah, we talked cheap, blah blah blah. This could have been over if she would have, if she had the quirk destroying bullet and shot
Yeah.
him in the head.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. As soon as I saw that bullet, I was like, please let it be a quirk stopping, please. Because then I'm like, oh, we might have a shot. But I don't know. I will say, fun fact for people who didn't know, the creator of My Hero Academia, because he's not that much older than us on this podcast.
Yep.
He, one of his inspirations for Lady Nagant and the curve shooting is Angelina Jolie from Wanted. The movie Wanted, for you young people who
Oh,
don't know, Wanted was a movie basically of assassins who were curving bullets, and obviously Angelina Jolie is one of the main characters who was able to curve a bullet. So if you watch that movie and now you watch Lady Nagant's curving bullet, you see the similarities.
I
Fun,
have not seen that movie, so I did not put that together.
fun. Just type in Wanted curving bullets, and you're gonna be like, oh, so this is how Lady Nagant shooting. Just a fun little thing for tidbit for the day. Andrea, anything else? This was a
I
big
so it's
episode.
to me, it's just the level again, I can't reiterate the level of roller coaster I went from between episode 53 because it was just all it's obviously the momentum is going to swing back and forth because we have a lot of time left. We animate, episodes left. Not a lot of time, but anime episodes left. So it swings. Oh my God, the roller coaster low and then almost the immediate shoot back up to high. And it just kept, as I was watching the episode, I don't know about you, I just kept getting more excited and more hyped at each reveal. Because for me, again, I know the situation is still dire, but the momentum is swinging back at a time when I really was not seeing where any momentum could come from. I thought it was just going to be another, okay, Midoriya, 1,000%, like he did with Muscular, essentially, or 1,000,000%. I just, I can't wait to see how it ends, but I'm also like, I don't want it to end. And with this momentum swinging up, I'm hoping with an episode called Hope, it's Hope or Hopes?
Hopes.
Hopes, so plural. I'm hoping the good guy momentum keeps swinging up because I don't know if I could handle an emotional crash immediately after that. So, I don't know. I don't know if my heart can take it.
So what are you gonna do if the episode starts with Aizawa dead? Because again, that's why I'm not like super like hopeful because the episode really could start off with him and Monoma dead.
I just don't think we're that cutthroat yet. Even though we have had deaths and we had late oh my God, Midnight, that we had Midnight on screen, we saw her dead body. I really think that essentially we have twice copies just holding them down because it doesn't seem like anybody in the show goes for first op kill. It seems like everybody has seconds where there's a restraint
Hawks
or a
didn't.
hesitation. Just, yes, but he debated off and on for months. And we know he did from his flashbacks and even his current, the conversation with Twice. Because he offered him an out.
You
It
did.
wasn't, okay, I'm here, you're done. It was, hey, I see good in you. You could turn it around. Like, you're a good person. Take this chance. And Twice was like, no. And so then he killed him.
I don't know. The first time All for One you saw him in the whole show, he put a hole in Blue Genius's chest. Shigaraki woke back up. As soon as Shigaraki woke up, he killed the number six hero in one move.
Yeah.
I mean,
It goes it comes in waves, it comes and goes, but it's we've seen it in Dobby, we've seen it in All for One, and we've seen it in Shigaraki. Again, little weak on the argument for Shigaraki that he couldn't just decay the ground that he's touching with his feet.
I'm just saying there's a lot of people who have died now already because of the twice shit. Because even if they're just holding you down, if they hold you down and you can't breathe or they break
True,
anything in your neck, you're dead.
true. I don't know. I don't know. I have hope. I have hope. That's all I care about right now.
We'll see. I mean,
Oh
it's now
man.
it's like a million to no, it's infinity
It's
versus like
infinity.
42 people at the at
Bless.
All for One's
Also,
place.
funny moment I saw in episode 154 when they show I think it's Yayorozu kind of going over like, oh my god, the place is falling. She's still creating parts, but she's
Hmm.
standing in the background, real small. I don't remember his hero name, but he's the cook for the school, and you just see him fucking flipping the wok for fried rice in the back, still with the goddamn place falling. He's just over there like, you know what? Y'all still gotta eat. Gotta keep
Wow.
up that energy.
It's wild. I felt like the hero. I mean, the heroes. I don't think they do any. They don't think of logical backups. Like, I don't understand why, if you know how with his warping abilities, why didn't you guys ever sit there and think? Like, they even talked about it. They talked about the event. Hawks was telling Endeavor the advantage is gone. Like, we separated them and they just hoed us. Like
Yep.
we. This was the last thing we got. The big dogs of the League of Villains all together. This was the biggest thing we didn't want to happen, and now it happened. So it's just like I don't understand why they didn't also think like, you know what? Just in case this happens, we should make our own technological warping device to warp us to these places. Like that would have saved Midoriya a hell of a lot of time. I know it's for the plot, but it's like y'all have the tech, y'all got the people, you got the brains. You should have been like, all right, if you get to this certain battle site, there's a secret like warp passageway that can warp you to this one. Like they should have thought of that because this is bad. Because who knows the other villain? Oh, now all we need now is just Gigamanja to just wake the fuck up and he comes storming through.
That was something else I hadn't considered when I started my rewatch. Because in 151, they do pan over to, oh, at this site, people are fighting to make sure that Gigantomachia doesn't get woken up. And we haven't checked in with that site in a little while. So I wonder if that'll be one of the fights we check in on in episode 155.
Well, it's her
I'm
chance of
hoping it's a good
redemption.
thing. It is. It's definitely fucking her thing. I almost wonder again. I keep looking for moments where people are gonna have a. Essentially, is after Shoji had his talk no jutsu moment. I'm wondering if some of these other quote unquote insects or extra, the extra characters are gonna have talk no jutsu moments with different with their quote unquote their villain. Like Shigaraki kept saying, Midoriya, I'm your villain. And essentially for Shoji, his villain is Spinner. And again, for Shoto, it was Dabi, but Dabi pieced out. So for Endeavor, it's Dabi. And All for One is just kind of chilling. I don't know
Dude,
how.
the fact that he's just chilling, smiling, like he's
Yep.
just like, this is
Mm,
great.
Yeah, I didn't mean to use this now. The only thing that made his smirk go away was when Hawks was like, Endeavor, take care of Dobby so you can beat this man's ass. And he literally said, you lost to our number one hero once. That's when his smile faded and it's like, ooh, nice. Nice,
Yeah,
because technically it's true.
which
Endeavor burned his ass to the ground.
he
And
did it
that's
to
why he needed to
Shigaraki
regenerate
too.
himself. Yep.
But it's
Yep.
like, respectfully, Hawks, I don't know if you're in the position to
No.
do this right now because, dude, if this was any other show, he would have been talking that shit and Toga would have stabbed him in the chest. And
Yep.
that shit still may happen. It
It
still
might.
might.
She just needs enough twices to get herself up in the air to do it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason he's safe right now is because he can fly. Also, talking about using shit we've never seen before, I know it's still his flames, but since when can Endeavor use fucking flame wings?
The
Why would
same
he be
the same way
like
he can just do the fire hand just a couple episodes ago.
again? I still call bullshit on that too. Like how if especially with the wings in the sense of if you've always been able to use your flames to make wings and fly, why are you doing soul like jetpack style or flame boot style flying? Why would you not want the agility and flexibility of using wings?
Because jet boots are they're the cultural end right now. Because I mean, My Hero is connected to the cultural end. You think of jet boots flying like that, you think of Iron Man. So that's why the author kept it like that.
I guess, but I'm just still kind of like, well, mm,
But
then who do we know that just suddenly sprouts wings whenever the fuck they want and can just do it?
we'll
Like,
see. Hey, well, Shoto better hurry. And this held him out of his moment too. All that fucking work just for the dude to come back even stronger.
yep, yep. And all again, still in a logically defying way in the sense of bro's body wasn't supposed to last 3 months. It's been
Mm-hmm.
at least 5 years. His
Yeah.
body is being held together by spite, and also they do like a close up pan of Dobby from like thighs up, real slow, and I'm looking at it as like Dobby is way too jacked to be wasting away. Like that should not be possible. Like I know he's supposed to still be strong and the aesthetically pleasingness of it or whatever fan service if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, it put me back in my head of like that makes no sense. Like he can still have some lean musculature, whatever. Okay, fine. But it's not like bro can pump iron with a body that can is literally falling apart, burn burning itself to death. But yeah, no, he's jacked up. He's got crazy eyes going. He is now saying, Dad, I'm here. Sorry I couldn't, fulfill my whole dream of killing Shoto first, but here we are.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we
And
will.
with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure you like, rate, comment, subscribe wherever you listen. We'll be back the next 4 episodes. Gonna have to try and plan that out because obviously we're gonna have to do a movie review
Yes, we
as
will.
well. So we'll figure that out for you guys. Yeah, let's enjoy this ride because again, in these next by the end of October, My Hero episodes movie will already be out. The episode reviews will be done for the year because the season 7 will be ending and we'll be just waiting for an announcement. Well, depending on where season 7 ends.
Right.
So we'll see. But with that being said, L7C Podcast signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C Podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.